I finally did it. I have been on and off looking for the right vehicle, the perfect vehicle, probably for a year and a half. Suddenly, this happened 5 days ago, the perfect vehicle popped up on Auto Trader. I am a perennial Auto Trader searcher, and usually I just brush past vehicles. But when this one popped up, I knew there was something a bit different about this. I couldn't resist it. It was perfect, everything about it. Coming from a private seller, exactly the spec I wanted, and with mileage above average. But with a vehicle like this, American made, I know that if ever there's a vehicle made to cover long distances, it's this.
Da-da-dum.
Jeep Wrangler 3.6. I saw this and I immediately contacted the owner, Russell, a classier guy you will never meet in your life. Tiny, beautiful village. I rode in on the Ducati Multistrada, so I just picked up the Multistrada and I headed straight off here after half an hour of riding. Perfect location. It's like it was meant to be. Out comes Russell. I knew the second I saw him, this is the exact kind of gentleman that I want to buy a car from. I'm going to go into a few more details in a second, but in short, I couldn't have been more impressed with everything. So I got home on Friday evening and I thought, think level-headedly. Just calm down, have the whole weekend to think about it. So over the weekend, the first thing I did, I went onto Car Vertical and I did a full search of the history of this car, which is extra important. When you're buying privately, in fact, it's more than important, it's essential to make sure that you're buying a vehicle that's legit and also it doesn't have any outstanding finance on it. So this is what popped up from the Car Vertical search and really clinched it for me. Start from the top, Jeep Wrangler 2014. I can see here, this is just exactly what you want to see. Odometer in green, financial and legal status, so no outstanding finance in green, and damage in green. So nothing there to worry about. It then gives me a brief overview on the vehicle, and the bottom bit is what I like most. Overall, the 2014 Jeep Wrangler is an exceptional vehicle that allows drivers to customize their driving experiences. Checking through here, it's never been stolen. The odometer is completely spot on. Financial and legal status, nothing to worry about there. And then you can see it's got all the MOT checks, no damage found anywhere. It's perfect. But if I were looking and something like this popped up on the other hand, it's a Jeep Wrangler, same type of model as mine, there is immediately at the top here, a yellow warning for the odometer and also a yellow warning for damage. And then I see the pictures. And alarm bells are ringing all over the place. So regardless of how well this vehicle would have been repaired, I know that I need to do some fairly serious negotiating. If I just scroll through a little bit more, I can see as well the mileage has indeed been rolled back. So I would need to do a lot of negotiating to make that financially viable. And finally, I can see that it was imported from the UAE. And that is important because it takes me perfectly on to giving you an overview about this car, because a lot of these have been imported. I'll drive it out. When I drive it out, just have a listen to the smoothness of that American 3.6. You can use code DOBS for 20% off a Car Vertical search, and you can do that by clicking on a link in the written description below or a pinned comment. Code DOBS, 20% off. So, why this exact model? Why did this get me so excited? This model of Jeep Wrangler, the JK, came out in 2007, but there was a gigantic upgrade in 2012. I never thought I'd be able to afford the upgraded version in 2012. This came with a brand new interior, the 3.6 litre engine, which is meant to be infinitely more reliable than the old 3.8 litre engine. But prices start at £25,000 for these 2012 and onward vehicles. However, this was a private seller, and this comes with higher mileage than the usual 118,000. The problem with the old vehicles, the 3.8 litres that stopped in 2011, you can only import them. The only engines they sold in Europe were the 2.8 litre diesels. This is the exact one to have. I mean, have a look at the condition. Just exceptional. Russell made sure that he kept it with a full Jeep stamped service history. One owner from new. Russell bought it from a Jeep dealership near to where he lived, I believe in the Oxfordshire area. He hasn't wasted or he hasn't missed or skipped a service. Every penny that's been needed on this vehicle has been spent, and I would much rather spend money on a vehicle with higher mileage, with full history, than a vehicle with lower mileage with iffy history. And this vehicle is a little bit of history in itself because it's thought to be the very first 3.6 litre Jeep that ever arrived in the UK. Russell walked into the Jeep dealership and he said, "I'd like to buy a Wrangler." And they said, "Great. The one you want is the 2.8 litre diesel." And Russell said, "Well, I've heard a 3.6 is coming and I want a 3.6 petrol." And the salesman said to him, No, trust me. Diesel's the way to go. Everyone wants a diesel, it's better for the environment. That's the one to have. And Russell said, I know what I want, and it's got to be the 3.6. So this is meant to be the first 3.6 ever sold in the UK. It's a gigantic thing. I wanted to make sure it had the 4 or 5 doors, whatever you want to call it, because it just gives so much more flexibility for what you want to do. You can see the condition is as close to immaculate as you can imagine. It's the Sahara edition. And have I told you how much we paid for it? It was advertised at £14,750, and I managed to haggle it down to 14,000. And anyone who knows these Wranglers knows that, at least in my eyes, that's a phenomenally good deal because these hold their values exceptionally well. Monica, come take a look inside.
Okay.
I'll just have to press the button a couple of times to let you see inside. This is the upgraded interior. It is a colossal leap forward on the old version. It's got Bluetooth, you can connect your phone. It's got these lovely chrome accents here. Jeep since 1941. You've got USB area to charge your phone, huge glove box, removable roof, so you can take the whole roof off or just remove these 2 front sections, cruise control, everything you'd imagine in a big, lazy American car. I just love the industrial styling. You can see there's nothing below the seats, just little netting here. Everything's easy to wash off and look after. It's got the perfect blend of a kind of borderline luxury 4x4, but with nothing that you don't need. It's still got that stripped back, beautiful utilitarian nature. And you open the boot like this. This opens first, and then that just flaps open like this. These seats fold completely flat. Russell had a tow bar on there because he used to tow his horse box, so I've got a tow bar that will attach there. It's even got the original bags for the roof. God, it's so proudly American, made in the USA.
You can sleep in here.
You can sleep in here because these fold completely flat. You can see the bars here, the roof bars that protect if you want to take the whole roof off, so you've got complete protection. And I can't help it. I just love Wranglers. In fact, I love most things American. You know, there's just something that they do to me. The style's pretty much not changed at all, certainly since 2007, and really before that, they've stayed so true to the styling. So what we'll do now, Monica, jump in. Let's head off for a coffee in the countryside.
Shall we take the roof off?
We've never done one. You're putting me on the spot here. This should be simple. So, everything about this is simple, and that's why I love it. There's one clip here, there's one clip here, and there's one here. So that's now, in theory, loose. While I do that, full Jeep folder, all of the original instruction manuals, along with, I was about to say, along with the full stamp service history. I've misplaced it for now.
Okay.
Okay, I'll have to find that later. I was hoping to show that off. Right, general operating system for the Wrangler. Oh my God. Oh wow. So the whole roof can be taken off, including all of this that's above Monica here, the whole thing. The problem is you need a double garage to be able to store this because it is ridiculously big.
Yay. Oh, that's cool.
Now I can use my American-made bags to put these in. Let's go.
You left your sunglasses.
Monica, I don't know why you film this stuff. I lose about 3 pairs of sunglasses a week, or a year. But why? Why this exact Wrangler? So I needed the 3.6 petrol. The reason I wanted a petrol, twofold. This is the spec that the Americans originally designed the Wrangler to be. Americans love petrol engines, so I really wanted the one straight from the USA. And secondly, and this is the clincher, that it had to be, petrol engines in the Wranglers are ULEZ compliant. ULEZ is the London Ultra Low Emission Zone. Diesel engines up until about 2017, 2018, anything up to that point, they won't pass the emissions regulations. Only petrol engine cars will, and that's why it had to be a petrol. That's also why I had to completely discount the Defenders. All of the Defenders of that era, bar a few special editions, they are all diesel, so they had to be discounted. I also prefer the comfort from a long distance point of view and the fit and finish of the interior of a Jeep Wrangler over the Defender. What's more, especially in this updated trim, 3.6 litre engine, these are renowned for being incredibly tough engines. There are countless stories online from over in the USA of these engines doing 400,000 plus miles. So long as you look after them, they are in essence unbreakable.
And will you look after it?
Yeah, it's got a full Jeep service history and I can't even miss a service. It's got a service due in about 2,000 miles. We've got a couple of big trips coming up and I'll make sure that this summer I get it done by a Jeep specialist. And anything that needs doing to do this, anything at all, I'll make sure it's done immediately.
It will be interesting to see how much that will cost.
Yeah, there are...
Just to service it.
There are 2 receipts I saw in the little black Jeep folder, both from this year. One of them is for an engine leak, oil leak. Didn't want to tell you this, Monica.
Okay.
And that's £660.
Okay.
Another one is for a slight malfunction with the engine. It needed a new bit of the engine, and that was £700.
Okay. So start saving.
Yes, start saving. But that is Jeep main dealer. Maybe I'll find a specialist who does things cheaper. And the point is, all of the work needed to be done on that has been done. But more than that, it's the emotive element. I remember when I was 11 years old, my parents went out and bought a 4-litre Jeep Cherokee. This is the only vehicle my parents have ever owned where I remember everything about the car so vividly. There was something about it, just the level of excitement with that car.
What colour?
It was in a beautiful deep green, almost like a British racing green with
Nice.
black leather interior, the perfect alloys, the 4-litre engine, the engine it's meant to have in it. This is how much I remember it. My dad was picking me up from, I was at some after school club or something like that, and he was picking me up, and the Jeep Cherokee 1995 or 6 model was parked in a car park. And I remember coming out of my after school club and there were 4 men standing around the Cherokee just looking in amazement at this gigantic, well, in fact it's not that big, but at this incredible looking American truck, and they were just looking in amazement. And I'll never forget that moment, just seeing these people just amazed by it. And I just thought, my Lord, how lucky am I to be driven around in this car. And then Monica and I got to test out in India, in Goa, the Mahindra Thar.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
We got this. This is an Indian imitation of a Jeep that's legally not allowed to be sold anywhere else because it is just a complete carbon copy that the Indians have made. But we had this for maybe 3 days or something. And the feeling of driving this Thar around, even though it's nowhere near the quality of the Jeep, it was so incredible. After that, I thought, right, that's it. We must buy a Wrangler. And that was kind of the clincher for me. I decided, once one comes along that is in the price range, I must buy it. And the key criteria were, it had to be high mileage because that's the only way I could afford one. And everyone freaks out about high mileage vehicles, but I know as long as they're well maintained, great, everyone freaks out about them, the price drops massively, but this is the best chance to get a bargain. Our Fiat's on 230,000 miles, it's bang on. And on top of that, had to make sure it's from a private seller, again, to get the best possible deal.
Do you want to give an update about the Fiat? Because it's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So our little Fiat 500, thanks to Monica, largely. We'll be keeping it just to see how much we use it. And we'll test...
And to see if it will pass MOT in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's got the annual check, the MOT, coming up in 2 to 3 weeks' time. It will definitely need work because it's slightly ropey the way it's driving at the moment. And it'll be interesting just to see, in reality, do we end up using it, or do we just love driving the Wrangler so much?
But I think for a city car, there's nothing better than the Fiat 500. Easy to park, easy to drive.
100 miles away from its milestone 230,000th mile. So for now, we're keeping it.
Yeah, and we have 2 parking spaces.
Yeah. Monica's not messing about. She immediately was contacting neighbours saying, who's got a parking space to rent? So that's that. I can't be trusted to look after 2 cars under my name. So now the Fiat is under Monica's name. And Monica's already planning modifications to it. Some new hubcaps, maybe a valet, maybe get some
New
parts that
bumper.
are broken, like a bumper, stuff like this. So,
That car will look different, believe me.
yeah.
We should do a video on it.
We'll do a video on it. I've let the Fiat down a bit recently with my looking after. I now need to change my ways and properly look after the Jeep. Ever since the legendary Willys Jeep that came out for World War II, all there's been since then is the CJ Jeep, and now, of course, the Wrangler as we know it today. And I love all of the little nods that they've kept those levels of authenticity. Stuff like the boot release. So you unclip, or I should say the bonnet release. Unclip those 2 latches on either side. Turn the key in the middle. That lifts this up. And then, this is the first time I've done it, that reveals the 3.6 litre petrol engine tucked neatly away in there. I mean, everything just looks in beautiful condition. Although I'll admit, it's not like I'm going to show you some huge growling V8. It's not the most interesting looking thing. Push that down, turn the key, cover that. I mean, that's the most unusual way to open a bonnet. But again, it adds to the character of the vehicle. Known as one of the best vehicles off-road, I love the fact that when you look over the bonnet, you've got this tiny flat windscreen with these, just like a Defender, pathetic little windscreen wipers that are microscopic, and then you've got this grab handle here, these beautiful vents.
So what's that for?
I'll be honest, I don't know. I'm guessing to attach something if you go off-roading.
Okay.
But look at the front of it, Monica. It's got this classic, timeless Jeep front. It's very, very rare to find a vehicle that stayed so true to the original with regards to styling. And bear in mind, this is a 2014 model. It's only 10 years old. Coming around to the side, it makes sense from a practicality point of view as well. So all you do, lift this up. Oh, I'm trying to make this look as easy as possible. Remove that, and then you just clip this, and that folds flat immediately. That's really, really useful. And then on this side, exactly the same, and the headrest just immediately
That's cool.
goes flat, and you've got
Double bed.
a double bed that you can actually sleep in, and it's as big as a van, and you can see speakers there, speaker there, subwoofer there. And what we're planning on doing is, if I fold that down and shut that, planning on getting one of those bike ramps that just sits on the side and you actually ride your bike up, hook it onto the back, and there you've got it.
Okay, what about the name?
Well, I never name vehicles, but Monica wants to name it.
Clyde.
Clyde.
Because Bonnie and Clyde.
Bonnie and Clyde, Bonneville and Clyde, Bonnie and Clyde, I like it. I've never named a vehicle, but we could go with that. I mean, I quite like the name Brutus, but
No, I
Clyde.
don't like it.
Maybe I could try, see
Clyde.
what it's like.
Yeah, I
naming
think
a
Clyde
vehicle.
suits him.
Should we wrap it?
Yes.
Look, I'm over the moon. This is honestly, genuinely, without over-egging it or overstating it, it's the realization of a dream. I cannot believe that we've got a Wrangler. It feels fantastic. And bear in mind, this car cost as much as a brand new Hyundai i10. 14 grand. That's the price you pay for an entry-level hatchback. And we managed to get a Wrangler for the price. I feel like I've won the lottery. I think this is a car that we will keep forever.
Yeah, I agree.
It really feels like that kind of vehicle. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We're going to head off, ride into the countryside, head back home, enjoy every mile of it. It's just that feeling it gives you. It's the kind of vehicle where you feel amazing, even just driving to the supermarket to pick up some potatoes. I love a vehicle like that where you're excited for every single journey. And this definitely ticks that box. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a brilliant week all. See you all next time.